Welcome back to Voidheart Studios, and today I'm going to be reviewing the X-Shot Ejector Shell. I at first didn't really consider this blaster worthy of a review, but honestly it's one of my favorite stock class springers that came out of 2026 so far, so I figured I might as well give it a shot. So let's get into the overview of the blaster. Starting up at the front, there's no end strike barrel log. Of course, it's an X-Shot blaster. Going back from there, you have the wow, this thing is so dead simple. Going back from there, you have this front handguard, and it's really nice to put your offhand on. This blaster is very bitty, so it is nice to have a little place to put your hand on, and it is very comfortable even to my massive hands. Going back from there, you have the bolt assembly. To open the bolt, you pull up and pull back. This also primes the spring. And then, to load the blaster, you take a shell loaded with a dart. This is a shell ejecting blaster. It's called the Ejector shell for a reason. And you can either feed it fully into the breech, or I'm going to try to keep this off camera, because I do want y'all to see how violent the ejection on this blaster is. Or, you could even just take the shell loaded with the dart and just kind of drop it in there, and the follower will take the shell into the breech. And of course, to fire the blaster, you pull the trigger. Dead simple. And then, to eject the shell and open the breech again, you pull that back, which is it's a very good ejection. Going back from there, you have this little button down here, and this is for if your bolt seizes up in the middle of the bolt, or in the middle of closing, you open that, or you press that to be able to open it back up. Never have I ever had to operate a blaster right-handed before this video. Or in a video before this one. Behind the bolt and ejection port is the top tactical rail. This is Picatinny. So, yeah. This scope can go on my Smiley, which I might keep it on my Smiley. This actually looks really good on my Smiley. But of course, it's a Picatinny attachment, so it'll go on, you know, all your 3D printed blasters and all your Pro blasters. And of course, this blaster will take Picatinny optics. This thing costs as much as a cheap pair of iron sights cost on Amazon, so I just stick with the crappy scope that it comes with. If it'll go. Oh, it has to specifically go on from the rear. Do note that. It has to specifically go on from the rear. My bad. Actually did not know that. Of course, you come back here to the trigger. It feels nice to pull, and honestly, this has probably one of the weirdest features I've ever seen on a toy class blaster. It has a safety. Right here behind the trigger, you have a safety. When you're pushed in on the left side, the blaster will not fire, the trigger will not pull. When you have it pushed in on the right side, it fires. See that ejection again? It really does just fling those shells. Which, you know, I might do more shell ejecting blasters. I've got a couple more I can cover in some nostalgia reviews. And just to note, the blaster can be fired with the bolt in the raised position. Putting it down just, you know, completes the very satisfying action of a bolt rifle. Going back from there, you have the grip, which is, again, very comfortable for my hands. And I can even choke down on it to get my thumb out of the way to be able to operate the bolt left-handed without, you know, crushing my hand. Though, with left-handed operation of this blaster, I've taken to just doing the reach-around maneuver and just taking my left hand off the trigger grouping and then just operating it like that. So, yeah. Going back from the grip, you have the stock, and this stock is itty-bitty. This is a very tiny stock. I think they took some of their design language for this one from Busby, because this is a very disproportionate blaster. It feels long, it feels nice. It has a barrel cap, which doesn't bode well. It seems to be just clipped on. I hope it's not solvent welded. But, yeah. It has a few things that don't bode well for it, but overall, pretty solid. And despite how short it is, if I actually hold it normally, the butt plate, or I hold it, you know, in a way that doesn't crush my arm together, the butt plate is actually rather comfortable. It's just the stock itself that isn't. It's very, very, very short. But I think people have made stock extensions, and I think the stock is a whole different piece just by itself. So you can just take off the stock, and I think somebody's already made 3D printed extended stocks for it. So, yeah. And of course, finally, let's look at the shells. These shells are a little strange. They kind of have these little tabs on the side that I want to say interact with something in the breech, but I think they're just guides of some sort. Oh yeah, they do make it to where it goes in the breech a certain way. So, yeah. And of course the shells hold full-length darts. They do have a dart post, so they can only hold full-length darts. Though the dart post can very easily be removed to make this thing half-dart compatible. But, yeah. That really is it for my overview of the ejector shell. Let's take it out to the range, and let's play with it. Alright, I am out on the range with the ejector shell, and yeah. Let's start before I die out here. It's really hot. Alright, starting off, I'm going to be using the stock 4 shells loaded with X-Shot air pocket darts. Alright, next I've got Nitro Shot, Dart Zone Nitro Shot full length darts. And then finally, Dart Zone waffle darts. Alright. That'll be it for the firing demo. I'm going to clean up. We'll go inside and talk about it. Alright, we are back inside with the ejector shell. Let's talk about it. Starting off with the practical stuff, let's talk about the price. This blaster retails currently for $12.88. That was what it was when I bought it, at least. So around $13, $14, $15. It's going to stay in that price range pretty much. And for what it's worth, that's a pretty good price. For an overall solid, single-shot, shell-ejecting, very cool-looking bolt rifle, it works. It, of course, comes with the 4 shells and, I think, either 8 or 12 darts. And, of course, this little scope, which is pretty cool. Yeah. I think it's worth it. Especially with this thing having a rather high-quality plastic compared to... For an X-Shot blaster, I mean. Usually X-Shot is a little lower on the quality spectrum when it comes to their plastic. They feel pretty cheap, and, well, quite frankly, they are. This thing's got very high quality. I think they might be switching over to the plastic that they use for the piston pump, because the plastic that they used for the piston pump is noticeably higher quality than a lot of X-Shot's older plastic, like even the plastic that they used for the long shot and the Fury. Let's talk about the performance. FPS wise, I put this blaster through my chronograph and got an average of 82 FPS, which, you know, it shoots harder than a Nerf Elite blaster, noticeably. Not enough to really outgun somebody that's using a stock Elite blaster, but it does shoot a little harder, so it will get to your target a little faster. And it's just a nice, very fun blaster to plink with. Even despite my gripes about the stock and all that other stuff, it's still a very fun blaster to just screw around with. And, yeah. My only really practical gripes about this blaster is it comes with 4 completely proprietary shells. These shells will not work in any other shell ejecting blaster made by X-Shot or Buzzbee or anybody else. These will only work in the ejector shell, and that's it. And they have not made refill packs for it. And as far as I know, they probably won't, because most of these blaster companies don't. Because they make more money from you having to buy another ejector shell for more shells. Or they think they would make more money from you having to buy another ejector shell just to get 4 more shells than they would just making shell refill packs. But honestly, I would rather do the shell refill pack route. I would pay $20 to get, 20 more shells and 40 more darts if they, sold darts with the shell refills. But, yeah. That's my only wish, is that they would actually make shell refill packs for this. But if you don't like the shells, this blaster is also very moddable. I don't know if there's exactly a shell delete made for it yet that still keeps it single shot, but some lunatic, has made a short dart conversion for it that makes it take talons. So it completely removes the shell ejecting bolt and puts in a skinny pusher, and then puts a big magwell on the side that comes out, and it makes it compatible with talon mags and short darts. which then makes it a rather nifty little bolt-action mag-fed Talon Blaster, which is pretty good. And I do believe Out of Darts has, as well, they have printed shells and spring upgrades for the ejector shell. So you can get this thing to hit pretty damn hard. Aside from that, it's a fun blaster. In terms of my opinion, I do really enjoy it. I do have a couple of gripes, and that being, again, you know, the stock is really short, the shells are completely proprietary, and there's no refills for them. But that's really it for my complaints. And any complaint one has about the size of this blaster or the proprietary shells, you know, it can be done, or it can be, you know, done away with a little bit of modding. You know, there's 3D printed shells, like I just said. There's probably a 3D printed extended stock, and hell, this thing could make really good integration fodder. Like, just lengthening the barrel and, you know, lengthening the stock using, like, maybe a length of sling fire stock or something like that. It would really make this... sorry. Jeez. It would really make this thing kind of shine in a new and unique way. And this blaster is so cheap, too. It's $13. I would have bought two if my parents didn't question my sanity. Whenever I buy two of the same blaster. But, yeah. Overall, very fun blaster to use. Rather practical when you get it modded up. And overall, I highly recommend. Now, if you did enjoy this review and this video, please do leave a like and a comment, and a subscribe. Comment your favorite thing about the ejector shell. I will have a buy link posted for this in the description. And I will see you all in the next one. Until then, take care. Now I gotta find that shell.